What's good, y'all? I've got some really nice buffs for both Alolan and Cantonian Exeggutor in the form of a lot of different things. But before I get into them, I want to have a quick disclaimer for anybody who is new here to check out that Google Sheet. It's linked right below in the description, and you can check out all 600 plus move buffs and changes in this hack. I've reworked pretty much every single move. They're organized into so many different categories. If you scroll to the top, which is what you would of course start at if you go to the link and click it, you'll see all these little categories, table of contents. You can feel free to explore to your heart's content. I would highly recommend just having this open like while you look at the other Pokemon buffs and changes, or just looking at the Pokemon buffs and changes yourself and just switching tabs, to the sheet to the moves, and just Control F all the moves. There's so many of them, so many new different categories, and I don't have time to cover them in every single video. So yeah, that highly impacts the way that every single Pokemon functions. Now, another disclaimer: Exeggutor and Alolan Exeggutor are what I call semi-pseudo legendaries. Base stat total in this hack is very arbitrary. I've put careful thought and effort to make every single Pokemon very viable and unique from one another, and not overlap with one another and all that fun stuff, regardless of their base stat total, whether or not they're 480 or 575 or 600, whatever it may be. But the average base stat total in this hack is also just way higher as a result. It's a lot more like consistent. But the main reason I made these guys semi-pseudo legendaries is because I wanted them to stay mixed attackers, and of course still be bulky because they are literally like giant trees. Hence why Alolan Exeggutor has 120 base HP. I try to base HP more on size in this hack, so Alolan Exeggutor is bulkier physically, but specially I'd say maybe slightly less bulky than Cantonian Exeggutor, because Cantonian Exeggutor is 95, 90, 115 bulk. Cantonian Exeggutor also has the benefit of having Grassy Guard, an incredible new ability that gives it 50% defense increase under grassy terrain, which works great with all types of new moves and stuff like Leech Seed and Synthesis to heal yourself up and all that fun stuff. And of course, you do have Solar Rush on both of them, which functions exactly like Chlorophyll does. So that's really good with the buffed Heat Rock, which you can essentially. I did that. So Heat Rock gives you 6 turns instead of 3, right? So what you can do is. For certain boss fights, you invest max speed, you have infinite UV training items, as well as infinite usability capsules to switch between your abilities at will. So it's very easy to, choose for certain boss fights if you want to run a faster Solar Rush set or a bulkier Grassy Guard set, or in Alolan Exeggutor's case, you can use Headstrong, which prevents recoil damage from moves like Dragon Hammer, Wood Hammer, Takedown, Wild Charge. I didn't get Play Rough, oopsies, I gotta add that there. And then Rock Climb, of course. Let me add Play Rough, though. I'm surprised I didn't add that. Hold on. So those are all a bunch of recoil moves that you will take 0% recoil from, and they're very strong, of course. So that's all really fun. With and it also fits Alolan Exeggutor, the whole thing of like him just having that big body to smash things with. So I see him taking less recoil damage as a result. Hold on, let me just Alolan Exeggutor. I just gotta add this before I forget. Excuse me. Yeah, these guys are super sick. Like I would probably prefer Cantonian Exeggutor. I also like Cantonian Exeggutor's design a lot more, way more. But that doesn't mean I dislike Alolan. It's kind of too goofy for me. I'm not a huge fan. But yeah, it's also more of a physical attacker now. Again, because it is this giant tree, I see him using physical attacks more than special attacks. Not that a special attack set is bad. It's not bad. It's still base 100. It's still really strong. You still have great coverage moves on both physical and special sides of the spectrum. All of the Exeggutors get all of these moves on the left side, and then up here as well, and then right here is for Alolan only. So there's a good amount of moves that are exclusive to Alolan, mostly just the dragon type moves and fire moves and stuff like that, and a couple other random ones. And then of course Cantonian Exeggutor has a couple of exclusive moves by level up as well, stuff like Trick Room and Brain Drain and Psycho Boost and Side Strike and all these other cool moves. But yeah, Grassy Guard is insane on Alolan Exeggutor, Cantonian, excuse me, because of how bulky you get. I mean, even with 0 defense investment, you can run max HP, max Spadef, or max HP, max special attack under grassy terrain, which is now a TM, of course. So that's really good for any Grassy Guard Pokemon. You also get that big 50% boost to your Grass Stab. You have Grass Priority in the form of Leaf Flurry and Seed Shot, and then of course Alolan Exeggutor has Draco Jet, which kind of doesn't fit, but fuck it, it's like a goofy ass Pokemon anyways. And then Twister, which is both priority moves as well. And of course they both get Burst Impression, which is pretty cool and useful for certain boss fights, just to teach it real quick and go boom, kill something quicker than you that's weak to bug or whatever, or just to finish something weakened off. Branch Leech is insane. That makes physical sets worth using on Cantonian Exeggutor, and of course is even better on Alolan with the higher physical attack. I also just thought that making Alolan more physical while Cantonian is more special fits their vibe as well. Of course, Cantonian has less HP because of the size difference between the two, but you know, since Alolan is not psychic, it has less special defense, so it does even out. And then of course they have just different type, you know, combos. They have different resistances, different weaknesses, so they just, you know, I wouldn't say one is better than the other. It really just depends on your personal preference. I would say Headstrong is cool and all, but it's, you know, you can always just run Shell Bell anyways. So I don't know. I would personally prefer the Grassy Guard Solar Rush combo in Cantonian, because you have the option for the high speed and you have the option for the insane bulk, and both of them give him a boost. Obviously, Solar Rush gives him the speed boost and then the boost to the fire type moves like Weather Ball, while of course you have growth as well, but you also just get Nasty Plot straight up, right? Oh my god, did I not get Nasty Plot? What the hell was I cooking? And I did these like months ago. Let me add Nasty Plot. I guess it's because of growth, but like growth is still good for physical. But they also get Swords Dance, don't they? Naturally? Yeah, they do. Fuck it, who cares? Growth can just be bad. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I guess for mixed sets, growth is still useful anyways, so it's not like it's completely outclassed now. Oh, still one of those, doesn't matter. Those are all post-game moves, so they don't matter too much. Yeah, there's so many cool things here that I don't know if I have the time to cover, but I will just say, like that Branch Leech, which heals you. It's basically Horn Leech, but it's 90 base power. You know, you've got great utility moves like Drop Kick and Breaking Swipe, which drop attack and special attack by 1. Dragon Tail is good on an Alolan Exeggutor because of how bulky it is. You can, you know, deal a lot of damage, 90 base power, 100% accurate, and switch the opponent out. You've got so many fun. I mean, Sweet Scent is even like Execute. Execute is also really great for early game. It'll evolve past Olivia, but of course a Violet Execute is totally viable for Olivia. Even without the grassy terrain up with Grassy Guard, it's still taking hits really well because of its bulk and the Violet. And of course Harvest can still be useful, but at that point you're gonna want to run a Violet, so you can't run a Berry anymore. Harvest is more for early game, like really early game stuff, like versus Totems or something. You could try to cheese Harvest, but Grassy Guard's a little bit better and more consistent, especially once you get past like the first couple Totems. Like for trainers, I would say Grassy Guard is usually a little bit better. Not that, you know, Leech Seed, Protect, Harvest is still useful. Ancient Power gives you +1 Spit F, so that's pretty cool for early game. Sweet Scent, Stun Spore, all that fun stuff. But back on topic of the semi-pseudo status of them, there are tons of others of 2-stage semi-pseudos. So the full list that I will list out that are 2 stages are Arcanine, Exeggutor, both of them, Camerupt, Abomasnow, Volcarona, Avalugg, and then the 2 new ones from the older previous recordings of the videos. Yanmega and Tangrowth are now also that, which I'll get to when I get to re-recording them. Of course, just check out the Google Sheet and you can see it all for yourself, but I know some people would rather just listen to it, so yeah. A bunch of other cool stuff like Ingrain, for example, plus Grassy Guard. Ingrain will give you, Ingrain still functions like normal, right? So it still gives you, it still locks you on the field, it still gives you the residual healing. However, it basically functions like Calm Mind, but it drops your speed by -5. So in exchange for -5 speed and locking yourself in on the field, which you can always just, you know, switch out with Parting Shot anyways, not a big deal. Oh, I typed in Nasty, I just realized. That's really funny. It's really funny, just Nasty. Okay, yeah, Ingrain, my point is that with the Grassy Guard defense boost, Ingrain makes you super tanky, and you get the healing from Grassy terrain as well as the healing from Ingrain. And if you use that in conjunction with Leech Seed, you're like really taking hits, but I mean, I wouldn't even say you need Leech Seed at that point. It's just got so many good options regardless. Sword Power is also pretty cool. Gives you +1 special attack each time you click it. You've got that Trick Room, which is exclusive to Cantonian, which is pretty nice. I know technically, I believe Alolan Exeggutor learned it by TM because he can still use psychic moves, but as a level up move, I feel like it's weird on Alolan. But and also it just makes Cantonian less. I feel like people are still going to gravitate towards Alolan just because, oh my god, Dragon type, oh my god, big HP stat, you know. People just like that more, but I think Cantonian's way cooler, and they're definitely both equal at the very least. It really just depends on the situation, what you need for that boss fight, your other teammates, you know, your IVs and your nature. For example, if you had like a really good special attack IV or nature, you'd be a little bit more inclined to pick Cantonian, while the other way around would be more like Alolan. Just depends on your preferences though. Speed-wise, in the sun, they are pretty damn quick. So 252 will hit 398, but that's if you got a perfect speed IVs. But 398 is plenty fast, so for a lot of boss fights, you're actually not even going to need to invest max speed. You only need as many speed EVs as you need to outspeed something. So for example, 200 speed EVs hits 372. Now you have 52 extra EVs to put in HP or something, or your other offensive stat. And 372 will still outspeed base 120, you know, plus speed nature Pokemon. So that's my idea, is that you can just use those infinite retraining items to customize your Exeggutor for the situation. It's very nice to have those 2 sets of abilities for that reason, especially on Cantonian with that defensive and offensive Solar Rush and Grassy Guard. And Grassy Guard is still offensive, you know, you're still taking, I mean, you're swallowing hits, and then you're dealing a lot more damage with that grassy terrain boost. So that's super fun, you know, with Giga Drain and stuff. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Very simple overall. Chloroblast is also another recoil move. So Chloroblast, Woodhammer. Chloroblast is learned earlier for that very reason, so that way special Headstrong is actually still somewhat useful. Obviously, all of the TMs and coverage recoil moves are all freaking, what am I trying to say, non-stab options. So, you know, like Wild Charge. Oh, physical, that's what I'm trying to say. They're all physical. And Wild Charge, Takedown, Play Rough, all that stuff. So yeah, this video's hitting 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna try to leave it off there. Overall though, super goated. I love both of them. They're super sick. Actually, I don't love both of them. I'm lying. I don't like Alone Exeggutor. I just fucking lied. I don't like it at all. I don't like its design. Not a fan of it. If you are though, more power to you. And of course, that didn't stop me from giving it really good buffs. You know, it's super tanky, super strong, super good abilities, good move pool, all that stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace, y'all.